Now we will jump immediately to the last presentation. I'm really glad to have Helmut with us. Helmut is the Presales EMEA Manager directly from Tricentis. And this will be more focused for SAP customers, so I really apologize for any customers that are not really interested in SAP testing. And he will tell us something more about the LiveCompare product from Tricentis. So you will get the whole package. So it's not just the Tosca, as we explained at the beginning, it's also Vera for these regulated industries. It's testing and
yes, we have many products.
Many products. Sorry.
Yeah. So we have way more than Tosca, and one of our products basically is LiveCompare. First of all, thanks for having us. Really happy to be here, talking to some of customers and partners. Yeah, just quickly to my person, I was also 7 years in consulting, so I actually used our tools, right? I'm not just talking about it. And that is also something. So if you have some other project-related questions, just let me know as well. So yes. Today I would like to talk about SAP and Tricentis partnership. I'm not sure if everyone already have heard about it. So we are solution extension of SAP. That's my first agenda point. Coming then to LiveCompare itself. Showing like what LiveCompare can do, what this tool is capable of doing, then diving into an S4 transformation. As you have seen, I would say like almost every SAP customer now needs to transform into S4. So it's a huge topic out there. And then also a quick information about Tricentis test automation in the cloud. I have mentioned it to some of you, our latest innovation, basically a true SaaS product where you can do test automation, currently limited to web, but we are extending it on a daily basis. I think everyone knows Tricentis. We were founded in 2007. Since then, we were growing heavily. I joined in 2010, so like 3 years later. When I joined, we were, I think, 90 employees. Now we are 1,700, so it was a huge growth. We already have 2,700 enterprise customers all over the place. So from Australia over India to Europe, US, and also Japan, Emirates for sure as well. And we already have 370,000 certifications out there. So you can do a free training course on our websites. And there you get a certification, and that is what already like almost 400,000 people did so far. We also have many partners, as you can see here. We are very proud having partners also like concircle, helping us getting products in the market, getting it implemented. We do not have so many consultants in-house, right? We do have some consulting, but it would be impossible to actually bring consulting to everyone out there. As I have mentioned, we are distributed all over the world. We actually started in Vienna. It's like the right in the middle here. So our headquarters are in 22nd district. Our new headquarters are in Austin, in Texas. And that was also the reason why we were able to expand, right? We got an investment in, I think, 2017, if I remember correctly, where we were also able to acquire products like LiveCompare. So this is a very mature product, but it came into the Tricentis family 2019. And that is something what I really wanted to talk to. So some of the new customers, I guess you know some of the brands. And that is something they are using many of our products, but still many just know about Tosca, right? And that is also where we really try to tell to the world that we have more products than Tosca, but it's all about quality assurance. We never had any other focus than assuring quality of products, right? And all our products basically supporting. So coming to the SAP and Tricentis partnership. There is different partnerships about SAP. There is a validated product, Spotlight product. There we have more than 100. SAP has more than 100 solutions out there. There is the endorsed apps. That's a little less than 100. And then on top, we have the solution extension, right? So there are just 10 products where SAP goes to any vendor asking if they want to be a solution extension. So SAP is actually taking our products in their product list and also selling our products. And that is something where SAP customers, if they ask SAP, what shall we use for SAP testing, they will tell, use Tricentis, right? And that's something where you can actually trust our products, that we are capable of testing SAP products, because we get a quality process. Every new release is checked by SAP itself, and they're checking our products if we actually promise what we should promise. And that is something, so if it comes about quality and the quality assurance about SAP application, basically Tricentis is the only partner in this space. Okay, why quality assurance? We have heard many questions today. I think that was one of them. Some real life stories I want to bring to you. That's one email conversation from last year. There was actually like an email saying to the customer, like a follow-up, and first of all, they were just saying, okay, no, we have time, maybe let's do a POC and plan this further on. Then overnight they had a huge glitch, right? So the system broke down, and there was just a reply then on top, can we just skip the POC and go right to the purchasing process, right? So as soon as the customer is experiencing how tough it is if a application is not running anymore, then they definitely recognize, okay, quality assurance and testing is a case, right? So it definitely makes sense. One more example, for example, would be BP, British Petrol. If the SAP system of BP is not working for 1 day, it's costing them 100 million a day. So if 2 days like fall out, it's 200 million for them. And they better make sure that this system is working every day, right? One more story, like there is Revlon, there is Haribo. Maybe you have heard that in 2019, Haribo wasn't able to deliver the gummy bears anymore because SAP went down, right? That was also in the news. And yeah, testing was a no-brainer for them, right? That's also the reason why they are now a customer of ours. But that is something that people usually really tend to skip, and they really try to save money on one end, right? But if the system is not working, it's so much more expensive than just having a testing product with a proper testing organization, than if you really wait until something is not working. So the 3 terms, I think every C-level, every VP wants to do: increase speed, avoid risk, reduce cost, right? That's something you see everywhere, not just about testing, but that is something everyone wants to have. We can help in all of these 3 categories, right? And that is something where we can also help in different ways, not just with test automation, but also with the question like what to test. It's not just about having the tests automated, it's also like, what do I need to test? There are very nice numbers. Forrester did a case study. Here you see like a very nice ROI. They did a study last year without us. So if it would come from us, nobody would believe us. So if it comes from an analyst, then it's way better. and they really were asking some of our customers how they did, what they did. We also had a great story today from First. I mean, that was also amazing to me, right, to hear it from a customer, because I already mentioned to some of you, if I would tell the same story, nobody would believe me, right? But if the customer does it by himself, then it's a different story. So coming to our products, enterprise quality assurance, we really try to avoid testing. Nobody wants to do it, everyone needs to do it. Testing is not sexy. That is really something where we want to go in the quality assurance, right? Because VPs, C-levels, they know if you want to assure the quality of your project, of your application, it has a totally different understanding than testing itself. Because testing is something you quickly go in the depth area. developers don't have so much budget. They have some open source stuff and so on. And that's the reason why we really want to emphasize the quality assurance, because it actually describes what it is. So on the one hand, what to test? LiveCompare is what we want to concentrate today. Does it work? We have seen Tosca, we have seen Vision Eyes. Thanks for this. Great presentations, by the way. We also have Test Team, that's for web automation. And we have Tricentis Test Automation. That's the new cloud product where we will quickly touch base today. For does it scale? We have enterprise performance testing, meaning Tricentis Neoload, which is a very established product. It came in the Tricentis family in 2021. And we also have now a nice integration to Tosca, so you can use your functional test automation and just move it over into Neoload, so you immediately have your performance test as well, which is very handy to use. The next thing is data correct. That's also, people are sometimes tend to forget that also like the data which is used in my SAP system counts. And here with data integrity, we can really do, on the one hand, metadata checks, right? If you have like optional fields, which are sometimes optional, sometimes mandatory, right? And if it comes to the mandatory fields, if all these mandatory fields are filled out, you can check this. You can also do reconciliation tests, meaning row by row comparison, like millions of rows. We have a very nice success story. You can also check out on our website about Mercedes-Benz. They did in Turkey, also an SAP transformation, and they had 3 different types of SAP sources, and they want to move it into the S4 system, more or less. And they had the retailers, they had their own system, and they had like even like some third-party shops, and this was totally different. And in the end, they wanted to have like one database of customer data, basically. And for this transformation, data integrity really helped them to test billions of rows in like less than a minute, right? And the last question, where do we stand? Test management. Here we have a very strong product, Tricentis qTest. qTest is very closely connected to Tosca. It's a true SaaS product, so it's very easy also to provide reports, to provide dashboards. And with qTest, you can schedule your testing, you can check your testing, you have also a customizable dashboard. So it's very easy to use, and you don't need any installation because it's a SaaS product, right? And the regulation question before also came, like we also have Tricentis Vera, which is on top of qTest, where you can be also sure that your test cases are GXP validated, right? So you can really do your GXP testing and you have your approval chain. So in the regulatory environments, you actually need to check each and every test case by at least 4 people, right? And all these 4 need to approve them. And that is something that we can make sure before it's not approved, you cannot run them. All right, any questions? At the end, everyone forgets basically the question, so I'm asking in between. So additionally to this, we see the SAP solution extension sign. So all these products are part of the SAP product list, except qTest. If you want to purchase, or one of your customers want to purchase a product, also SAP can sell it. The big advantage is they don't need to get for a new vendor. They can already do all this contractual stuff, and also the support will be then handled by SAP.
Maybe a question.
Yes.
So I can see on the slide that you can actually integrate Jira with test management.
Well, qTest, yeah. Thanks for the question, for sure.
Are there also some other tools supported? Like somebody today mentioned Azure DevOps, or I don't know, Solman.
MS Dynamics, Azure DevOps, yes, you can definitely integrate that. So qTest is on the one hand, there is like a real-time integration with Jira. So if you change something in Jira, it will be displayed in qTest. But also if you change it in qTest, it will be displayed in Jira, right? You will see your test execution results on your requirements in Jira. And that's also very nice for the developers to see, okay, has it already been tested and so on. You can do very easy manual testing because people just log in and click their testing, basically. But you can also connect qTest to other areas and also other applications, because it's called qTest Pulse. And this tool actually makes it possible that you can connect to other applications and exchange whatever you need to exchange. Okay, so going to LiveCompare. I have quickly mentioned it, like what to test is the question we are answering today. We see out there a reduction of testing efforts by 85%. We are really talking about SAP, right? It's just in the SAP space, we are talking about ABAP code. So it's analyzing ABAP code, meaning the code base of an SAP system. We see an increase of 3x. So speed to market is definitely something which also is important if you want to go like to nightly builds, daily releases in the Agile world, where you have like running code every day. That is what we actually also do. We also test Tosca with the previous version of Tosca, right? So somebody needs to test Tosca. For sure, it's Tosca. And that's also something where we have every day a new nightly build, and it's a runnable code. And the ultimate goal for sure is to release with 0 defects. So we have big customers using LiveCompare for many, many years. So I already told you in 2019, it came in the Tricentis family, but it was there before. So like Coca-Cola, Intel, Exxon, and BP, many others are using it for many years, and are very happy to basically reduce the huge effort for their business. So what do we see out there, like what to test? On the one hand, we see here like the testing effort usually is quite high, risk coverage, maybe it's a little too less, maybe sometimes it's more. But what we did an analysis. The risk coverage, if you go for your gut feeling of your business people, it's usually 40%, 45, max 50%, but there is nothing above, right? Because they tend to forget like that some other areas might be influencing their areas. So you will get the major use cases, but you will never get to 70, 80, 90% of coverage. The ultimate goal is to reduce the testing effort for sure, but go up with the risk coverage to what we also see, 80, 90% risk coverage should be reachable with our products. And yeah, traditional testing, basically, like a huge number of tests that the risk is a kind of a secret. Nobody wants to tell it, nobody knows it. Also, they don't know what they don't know, right? So also, if like you should know what you are not testing as well, because if you go for risk, you also need to know like what's the risk of the things we're not testing, right? And that's also something where LiveCompare can help you to also show, okay, this would be there, but it's not so important for you. And that's really something where LiveCompare can ease your life or the life of your SAP developers, basically. The core functionality and use cases. So change impact analysis is the core product, basically. There you can really see the impact of a change, like if you create a new transport, if you do a new update in your SAP system, LiveCompare will show you like where was the impact. That's the change impact analysis. But there's also an SAP comparison analysis, right? You can also analyze like 2 tables, like what has changed between these 2 tables, like what was the impact of a minor change, or like also what's like if you get an audit. LiveCompare can also provide you a dashboard for audits. You will get to see some of these details then in the slides in a few minutes. One example. So you see here one example of an SAP environment. So that's like 3,000 objects which are being used on a regular basis. These are SAP objects. You do the new transport, you create a new update, and there are some impacted objects. In that case, it would be 2,200 impacted objects. That's already some reduction, right? It's 1,000 objects less than before, but it's still a huge number of objects you need to check. So your business might not be able to cover this. And LiveCompare goes then one step further to the most at-risk objects. That's the term what we use out there. Here we actually really analyze your production system or the production system of our customers, basically, to see which objects are being used, how often, by whom, to see like what are the most at-risk areas in my SAP system. And that's the reason why we can bring it further down, because impacted objects, there are many tools out there which can do this. Even SAP has a tool which supports that, right? But the actual reduction is really done by LiveCompare only. So how do we understand this kind of magic, right? Like it sounds like magic. Nobody can reduce 85% just by one click. So there is really true brain power behind. If you usually have your dev that you're testing your production system, like your 3 systems, sometimes it's a pre-production system, so but it doesn't matter. You create a new update in your dev system. Your test system will be the same as before. So you will get the changes, meaning the impacted objects. On the other side, you have LiveCompare installed in your production system, and you will get out the usage, right? And the combination of the usage and the changes will lead you to the most at-risk objects. And that is something where you then basically get all the information of which objects are the most important ones for me. So what can be impacted? As I already mentioned, we are working on ABAP code. So we are actually analyzing what has changed in the ABAP code between the SAP systems, meaning we can test transactions, programs, theory apps, APIs, interfaces, and user configuration. Just a quick question, who's actually working with SAP? Some of you, all right. So, but that's basically, it sounds a little SAP-ish, but that's basically like this major apps, especially Fiori. Like this question always comes like, can I also test Fiori? Yes, you can. Additionally to this, LiveCompare gives you the option to connect to Tosca or to Solution Manager or to qTest. So you can definitely not just analyze like which objects have been identified by LiveCompare, but also like which test cases are covering these objects, right? So Tosca will create an execution list for you. You have seen it before in the screenshots, the execution list, you just click run. And that is something what LiveCompare creates for you in Tosca. So you will get a hit and a gap analysis. So let's quickly have a good look at here. Here again, we have the 470 objects what we saw before. And this actually then shows the test gaps, the blue ones, and the green ones are the objects covered by a test case, right? So all of these objects are being covered by a test case. You don't need to test them anymore. The manual testers can just remove them from the manual part. And the test gaps will be then the things you then need either automate or test manually. So you again bring down the effort from the business to avoid these huge efforts of testing. Over time, the test hits, like the green ones, will grow if your test portfolio grows, and the gaps will go down. They will never be zero because there is always something you want to do manually. You want to maybe just have new functionality you just have never done before. So there is always something in between. But if you compare it like to the 2000 objects, right, we're now to 24. So it's way, way less. The other features of the change impact analysis has a big list. As I mentioned before, we have master data governance. So if you bring out your vendors, your materials, whatever you have in your SAP system in a new one, you maybe also want to check master data. You also can do a code quality analysis. Also SAP can do it, but we can implement more custom rules, right? You can do more sophisticated stuff for your developers, like how good is your custom code. And for SOX and SOD audits, like all these type of audits which are out there, is also something where you get the support. Just a few screenshots how it actually looks like. The HANA migration assessment. So if you move to S4 HANA, you will get a migration assessment for custom code optimization, testing scope, HANA code readiness, security, and also integration. So that is something that will be shown to you, that you see also, okay, which area do we need to touch and change more in here. So that's the audits and monitoring. Again, it's all about dashboards, right? There is no fancy stuff clicking around what you have seen, like Vision AI. That's very nice to show here. It's really about dashboards and analysis of your SAP system. But still, it actually really helps you to stay on top of your SAP implementation to really assure your S4 transformation. So there are many case studies out there. The case study I have shown before. Here's the link to it. It's a nice PDF. All the details are also there for us. That did a very good job here and also providing details how they measured this stuff. So what we saw here, a reduction in per project incidents by almost 80%. So before it was 1.5 incidents for every project, and now they reduced it to like every third project had an incident, right? It's really a huge reduction, and that really saves time. And what we also have heard, like if you test, you don't get calls or emails, right, after a release. All right, any questions regarding the tool? Coming to an S4 transformation. So how does Tricentis support an S4 HANA transformation? On the one hand, we see here our SAP Activate. So the SAP Activate program is the program SAP basically provides to show customers how to update to an S4 system. You see here test planning here in the Explorer and in the Realize phase quite late, right? So if you do test planning when you're almost done, I don't think that you will make lots of tests anymore. You don't have the budget, you don't have the resources, you don't have the nerves to build up all these test cases. And like 3 weeks before go live, you may find some, but you will never find them all. And that's also why we suggested to SAP, we need a shift left of quality assurance and testing. They're currently reworking this slide deck, still in works. I don't know when we get the new one, but they already got the message and they will change it as well. Here it's an example of such a transformation. And again, you see here QA and testing quite late here in the Realize phase, testing phase. So definitely QA strategy is something you should think basically in your project planning phase, like how much resources do we want to plan, how much stuff needs to be done here. And the hypercare phase should then be reduced, right? So in the end, you will gain lots of time. That's a typical S4 transformation, typically a bigger one, 6 years. So in that case, it was like 75 SAP systems. The price of this project is around $1 billion. So 100 million a year, 150 a year. So one of the bigger projects. But that is what people or like companies investing into transforming into S4, right? And if this project fails, you can imagine like the guy who's responsible for making this fail might need a new job, right? And that's definitely something where we can say, okay, we can help you to at least sleep at night. Not sure if better or worse, but at least sleep. That you here basically have also the opportunity. Change impact analysis, by the way, we have 2 product names, right? Change impact analysis is the SAP name of LiveCompare. So SAP wanted to have their own product names. So we have our internal product name and an SAP name. So change impact analysis is LiveCompare. You can already start doing the S4 assessment. We'll have already shown to you to get information after the migration of your old system to the new system. You can do again a check with change impact analysis. to see if it still works. What do I need to test? Because otherwise you always need to test everything. Your business always needs to test all their regular tests they will do again, right? And change impact analysis can help them to say, okay, no, that didn't even change. You don't need to test it. Just concentrate on that stuff. The big advantage of LiveCompare is that you don't need to create automated test cases in the first place, right? You can keep your manual testing process and the tool is up and running in 4 or 5 days, right? And you can immediately reduce your testing efforts, even if it's just manual. And then in parallel, you can start your test automation and you will be even more successful. But that is something which really can help you in the very beginning to reduce testing efforts even without automation. All right. Next tool, we bring in like the full Tricentis suite here, where we have also data integrity testing, where you can check your old SAP systems, how different they are. Can I really merge them into the new system? What's the quality after the migration? Did it actually work? Did I screw up some banking accounts, like what I might not even recognize immediately, right? Maybe just in the year-end transaction, I see, oh my God, I have like booked 6 months the wrong account. And then in the end, I figure out I might change something in my system because that might be expensive. And what you also see, the ECC system, like the old one, is still running, right? You cannot just cut it and say, okay, 6 years we don't work anymore. So it's still running in parallel. And that is something where you your business still needs to test the old system. Business people still need to test the old system and they need to test the new system. So they cannot duplicate themselves. That doesn't work. So you need to reduce the testing efforts for them. Coming to ECT, this is Tosca, Enterprise Continuous Testing. SAP likes big product names. Here we see like the regression testing portfolio, right? You can build up your regression tests, your automation, and the nice thing is you can reuse what you have built here in production then, right? It's not just for your S4 project, because the end of the S4 project is the beginning of the S4 system. It's not the end of a project and that was it. It's the start of the S4. And like 2 months later, I think we have seen a map before of the S4 releases, right? It has been shown like every week there will be a change. So everything you have built here, you can use on a weekly basis then after that go live. And the twin sister of Tosca is Neoload, Enterprise Performance Testing, which also should be something which runs in parallel to see if the system is not just working, but also is capable of handling like all the loads, the thousands of users, millions of users. Like if you go to a Swarovski web shop, there is always SAP in the background, right? You don't see it, you don't feel it, but SAP gets all the requests when you click purchase. It goes in the SAP system, and Black Friday or Christmas shopping will have a big load on the SAP system, which you should not forget. And if you are not able to sell before Christmas, that might also lead to some losses. All right. That's a scary slide. That's from SAP. Basically, that's like the SAP tracked what you could do to move over in the S4 system. And we just added here the quality assurance part. So you can just compare what can I do to check the quality in each and every state. And that is something, again, you can always reuse whatever you built here in production. Don't want to scare you too much. All right. Any questions about LiveCompare? Is it somehow clear how it can help you in the SAP space for sure? So, latest innovation, test automation. Here, test automation for SAP by Tricentis. That's the SAP name again. You can strike through the for SAP. For Tricentis, it's just test automation. And here we have a true SaaS product. You see here the screenshots. You can do test case creation, you can do module scanning, you can do whatever you can do in Tosca basically, also in this tool, but it's SaaS based. You don't have to have a server, you don't need to have a terminal, you just log in, do your testing. If you want to test the web application, you don't even need to install any local agent, right? You can just do it in the cloud. But if you want to test them, some desktop applications or so, or it's not it's not reachable from outside, then you also need to install it locally on your machine. Just install basically an automation agent on your machine, and then it will do the testing. But the nice thing is, yeah, everyone basically can just log in this application and do its testing without installing like Tosca. We are working constantly on this. I think we have like 6 development teams working on this product, and we really put in new features. We also want to come to an end-to-end capability. Currently, it's limited to web, but we are using the same automation engine like Tosca. So we just need to unlock basically all the features for this tool, but we need to do some maintenance, some kind of modifications to be able to also handle like PDFs and also like Java, .NET, whatever it is, to also do this here on a SaaS-based module. You see here how a test case looks like. You have here like a defined variable, preconditions, open the screen. Here we have end of vehicle data and so on, like the screen. What we have seen before, the vehicle insurance calculator, that's something what has been automated here. Looks quite similar. That was it. Any questions? Has anybody heard before about the Tricentis test automation product in the cloud? Or okay. Oh, that's good. Christopher also heard about it. Oh, it's definitely. But yes,
we plan to go for the regular on-premise option, right?
Currently, yes, because there are not enough features available yet for everything, right? If you have just a web application, for sure you can start with it and then you can grow. But as I would say, as long as there is not the end-to-end capability in there, it's tough for customers to decide for this other product, right? But there will be a migration path, so you won't lose anything, right? If you do Tosca now, there will be a migration path to the new tool that you can just use what you already did before. So you don't be scared to start with Tosca if it anyways will.
You can export the test scripts and then export it.
That's still in planning how we will do it, but it will be a one-time migration in the portfolio.